Good afternoon, South Africa. We are live at Naturena, south of Johannesburg. Your lady Rosalind Tony, I'm the NSG at Arise Africa Rise. Today I'm hosting Mr. Ben Mothupi. He's the founder and the president of Arise Africa Rise. He's a family man, a community developer. He's also a minister and possesses a BCom Law and LLB qualifications from UNISA and postgraduate diploma University of Johannesburg respectively, and also he is a member of the South African Law Society. So Mr. Mothupi, sir, what inspired you to create this new political party, or what is its vision? What is your vision for the country?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home. We greet you this afternoon. Like as the National General Secretary of Arise Africa Rise has said, yes, I'm the founder, the leader, and the president of this newly formed political party, Arise Africa Rise. Now, the whole idea of the formation and establishment of this party came about when there were a lot of things happening in South Africa. I'll speak about one of the development of the law. There was a Constitutional Court judgment in which the Constitutional Court ruled that the Electoral Act was unconstitutional in the sense that it was limiting the rights of independent candidates. Then consequently, the Independent Electoral Commission was instructed to amend the particular statute. Yes, the particular statute was then amended to accommodate independent candidate to stand for and contest any election across all the three spheres of government. Then I then decided that since there is this kind of a development and the political landscape is changing, then I decided to go into the political space through a vehicle called AAA, Arise Africa Rise. Then it was then born.
Okay, so we have a variety of political parties in South Africa. I can imagine how the ballot paper will look like in 2024, really. Now AAA is here and all other new parties are just mushrooming everywhere. And they are actually singing the same tune that they will give the youth employment, they will bring proper health care, good education, they will support entrepreneurs, they will support small businesses. So I want to know from you that, will you be singing the same tune, or how does your party plan to differentiate itself from all these existing political parties?
No, we are going to differ fundamentally in many respects with all these other political parties. When we say there are a lot of opportunities in South Africa, we mean it. There are a lot of opportunities in South Africa in as far as employment is concerned. I'll give you a practical example. South Africa as a country, it's a company. It's a company. That is why it can go out to China, it can go out to Asia and Europe and borrow money. So it is having that legal status to borrow money. Now South Africa has got state-owned companies, state-owned entities, it has got municipalities and all that. Now all these state-owned enterprises and companies, they are having boards of directors. They are having boards, all of them. Now in these boards, you find that somebody is working within the government and also forming part of a particular board. you may find that a person is occupying board position in 5 different boards. And all these boards give him sitting allowances, while at the same time being salaried by a particular entity where he is working. Let's say, for example, the likes of South African Democratic Teachers Union, which is SADTU. Now, SADTU, like all these other trade unions, they are having people called union office bearers. Now, these union office bearers, they happen to be employees from a particular entity. Like SADTU will be having its office bearers coming from education. These people primarily, they'll be educators. Then they go into the space of office bearing, where members of SADTU will subscribe to pay to SADTU on monthly basis. This money coming from SADTU is paying these office bearers, who happen to be teachers. So these people, they are earning 2 salaries. I'm just giving you an example. They're giving 2 salaries from SADTU itself as a union and from the Department of Education. To us, that is corruption. We are going to say, if you are an office bearer, let the office bearer pay you 1 salary. If you are an educator, get your source of income from education. So in that case, job opportunities will come left, right, and center, and everybody will be earning a salary.
But maybe let me put it differently. Let me try to unpack it for you. My question is, what is your differentiator? For an example, how can you say, okay, are we a free society? If we are, then how can we say we are free when a person still goes and steal a pack of chicken from ShopRite or Pick n Pay to feed their hungry families and end up in prison, while corrupt politicians steal millions and never get arrested to see the inside of a courtroom? Now, what you are basically telling me is, you are telling me something that I know, something that is happening, something that is already corruption. So my question was to you, as AAA, what is AAA's plan to actually differentiate itself from these existing political parties in a way that you will come up with a cleanup campaign or come up with other policies for the country that are different from the ANC, from the EFF, from the DA, from the ACDP, from ACUM, from all of them? I don't really want you to tell me exactly what is happening already. We are marching towards a solution. And what, maybe let me put it this way, what is the solution that AAA has for a country of South Africa?
Let me start by introducing our vision as Rise Africa Rise. Our vision is to build. What do we build? We build a brighter, fairer, and prosperous South Africa.
How? Yes.
Now, how do you build it? We look at all the structures, particularly, of example, might be a structure of education. We look at it, whether or not the current system is assisting the youth in particular. As AAA, already we have identified that it is not necessary that an individual need to go for 10 years into school system to obtain a matric qualification. We have seen that there are a lot of people who have gone out there, make their monies through their talents, without even having matric. Now we have realized that we need to overall re-engineer the whole school system. If a person is able to work with the hands, let us introduce that person to working with the hands. If this person is able to work by the feet, an athlete of playing soccer or running, let us introduce that person. Then that person will be able to make money out of that. Therefore, education up to matric level is absolutely unnecessary. Say somebody is able to work by the hands, not in the sphere of agriculture. This person can be able to go into farming and do agriculture. This person can go into making things like motor vehicles, like the focus we are having, So we need to change the whole school system. Basically, the whole system, in summary, is a scam. We've been scammed. We have been, should I say, we have been hypnotized. That is why we need to arise. We need to wake up. We've been sleeping too much. So the school system up to matric level is not assisting us, because immediately when you get your certificate, you don't know what to do. Whereas in other countries, somebody, when that person is in class, that person is either taught to assemble something, assemble a computer, assemble a phone, or maybe to the extent of developing softwares. So from our perspective, if we were to revamp the whole education system, we might find everybody making his money, everybody being prosperous. Then our society shall be equal.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that answers the question. Subsequently, including to the question that I was going to ask now about the policy, what is the position of your policy in AAA? I also just wanted, you've already touched base on what was next online. That can you outline your party key policy position in the issue, such as education? You've already touched on that already we are sitting with matric rate, pass rate at 30%. It has never happened in the world. So it can only be South Africa that is actually sabotaging the entire youth that is coming, because at 30% you are not even eligible to apply for education in university. You are only subject to go to a college or a TVET. So that is a serious barrier for our youth right there, but I'm happy that you have touched on that. And I also wanted to check with your policy with health care. As you can see, our hospitals are dilapidating. We are having most, for an example, the Southern Hospital. If you visit the institution, the entire structure, as foreigners, from the executive, from the directors, to management and nurses to the interns. When you go to that hospital, you hardly get medication. Even if you are sick, you are reduced to be prescribed with Panado, and the rest you can go and see yourself how you're going to access other medical things. So in that case, how is AAA going to help South Africans in terms of these health institutions? And we also had a lot of corruption in the health spectrum, whereby we already know about the Babita ordeal, that people that are ready to expose corruption in our health care, they are not safe, to an extent that you can be brutally killed as a woman. And the next policy will be the economy. We are sitting, for an example, at a state where SMEs are not recognized in this country. They have this peacock approach when they want to lure the people into voting the ANC back into power for over 30 years to say this is what we will do with the SMEs, we're going to give you tenders, going to empower you. There's a lot of agencies that are in place as it is already. You CIFA, you SIDA, you Youth Agency, all of them. But when you look at it, you find that someone, I would say 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs that have registered in 2017, they haven't received anything. And you are sitting at a compliant phase where, as an entrepreneur, you have to comply with your SIPs, you have to comply at DSD, you have to comply everywhere where possible. And now SARS is now coming for us. It's coming for entrepreneurs, it's coming for SMEs, that if you haven't complied, then you will be summoned. And you haven't been making money van toeke af. 10 years ago, your business is registered. You have never get support from anywhere except of your own hustle. So how are you going to assist the country based on these two, healthcare and economy in particular?
Thank you very much, NSG and the viewers at home. As Arise Africa Arise, should we be voted into power, our starting point will be the amendment of the Constitution. Me, as the president of the party, I'm having a very serious exception with the current Constitution. Look, all of us, our basic understanding must be that the Constitution alone is a social contract. It's a social contract. Now, a contract is an agreement. It's a social contract where government is saying, vote us into power, we'll render service to you. It's an agreement. Now, within the political setup or landscape of today, it is vice versa. All the services have been outsourced to private service providers. We are having private education, we are having private healthcare services and all that. You need them. Now, our starting point is the amendment of the Constitution. When you talk of provision of healthcare services, what do we need to arrest, firstly, is the manufacturers. We must put our hands on the lever, on that handle of the pharmaceuticals. These people who manufacture medication. We need medication of quality. That when you are giving medication for a particular indisposition or illness, you don't have to come back to the hospital. What we see now is, no, just take this so that tomorrow you must come back again. The manufacturers at this stage, in foreign language, we are saying they're manufacturing foreign medication. We are not going to subscribe to that. We are going to have a handle on the pharmaceuticals to produce right medication which have a healing effect on the people. Now, if we are having pharmaceuticals under government which are then supplying the hospitals, our hospitals won't be overpopulated because the person who will give you medication won't come back again tomorrow. So the workload from the health service providers, the doctors and the nurses and everybody, it will be very easy then, because then the environment under which they will be working, those environments will be conducive. They won't be working under stressful conditions because they'll be having space and air to breathe, you know. Now, when you go to unemployment, poverty, lack, and inequality, primarily we are saying money makes the world to move. Now we are talking business. Now, how do you make people to tap into the business of this world, South Africa? How do you make them to tap in? You must check whether or not indeed South Africa as a country has got resources. I'm talking resources in the seas, underwaters, resources underground, resources on top of the ground, resources in air. Now, in the current setup, those things, say for argument's sake, you want to do fishing and you want to can the fish and everything. Those things, they are outsourced, they are being done by somebody else, the capitalist. In our case, we are saying, no, capitalists, please stay there, please let us own our things. When you talk of the mines are owned by other people, not the state. When you talk of farming, the land is belonging to other people. So we are saying, SAA should be in government. We're going to have levers everywhere, so that our people with whom we are having a contract and agreement, they must share into this bright South Africa. South Africa is full of possibilities. It is just that people have captured the state, and the state cannot function.
Well, when you talk about resources, my understanding is most of free resources are also being capitalized by the colonial system before. At times there's a scripture in the Bible, I will say it in my language, that lefasi ke la morena le makokokoko a lona, lefasi lotlhe le baagi ba lona. So I fail to understand that if this land has been created from above by the Most High God, why do we have to pay a piece of land of 200 by 200 for 15 to up to 200,000, depending on the area? How are you going to deal with the issue of land redistribution in this country, including everyone, not including the Khoi and the San community? So how are we going to deal with that already we do not have access to these resources that can actually enrich every individual in South Africa?
Yeah, like as I said, NSG and viewers, the starting point is the Constitution. We need to amend the Constitution. In actual fact, I can safely say the Constitution as it was drafted and as it is today, it is a sham, because it does not, and it did not, and it shall not benefit South Africans as it is in its current status. Now it needs to be changed altogether. Then from the Constitution, we need to do amendments to legislation dealing with redistribution of land and all that. Now, yes, the Bible says the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. That is scriptural. But again, the scripture upon which this organization is founded is found on chapter number 60, verse 1 of Isaiah, which says, "Arise, arise, because your light has come." Now, a lot of people, they don't understand this terminology of the light. The light is knowledge. Do you know that this thing belongs to you? Do you know that? Now, if you know, then you need to stand up, arise and claim it. So, we are taking cognizance that God gave us the seas and everything inside, the land and everything underground, and the earth. Like now in today's language, we are talking of the cloud. People are saying, no, I'll save this thing on the cloud. But when you ask him, where is this cloud? Who is the owner of the cloud? It's not known. So we are saying, at least we've got clarity of the mind, we know, we're able to read, we're able to research. Now, there's no longer time for sleeping. There's no more time for snoring. We need to stand up and reclaim our things. And the time is now.
Okay. So should the AAA be voted in power? How do you intend to change the income inequality in South Africa? Recently, when you look at the jobs that the graduates and the entire South African unemployed people are reduced to, it's called some minimum wage type of an employment, whereby you are put into an employment for 6 months, get 3.5, you don't have a job again, and you are qualified. Youth got the degrees, the masters, but because there is a dire need to get a job in South Africa, as Statistics South Africa, I think we are sitting at 32.5% of unemployment rate in South Africa. Majority of that is the youth. Well, at the same time, you look at the incompetency of the level of incompetency in every government institution. For instance, I will give you a typical example with Mayor Masichaba at Maluti, Apofung municipality in the Bloemfontein. The lady is old, number one. I don't know if she is able to see, but she can't read. I'm not even talking about English. I'm talking about Sesotho. You can't read your own mother tongue. You can't address people on that note. So in terms of income inequality, how are you going to make sure that you place competent people behind the desks of authority in the government? Because remember, there's still a lot of discrimination still that exists in the workplace, and the problem is the BEE that ensures that these kind of things takes place everywhere. So then how can we say we are free again when we cannot feed our families, when we are qualified but we do not have employment? And the same people keep promising job creation and better life for all, but the better life they have is for them and their families.
Yeah, thank you very much, NSG, for the question, and the viewers. Unemployment, lack and poverty and inequality in South Africa is rife. That is the truth. But all this have been self-created. They've been created by the tendering system. They've been created by this triple BEE. It has been proven that the statute of triple BEE has been primarily used as a vehicle to advance political achievement. The politicians have used it to their advantage, and they managed to succeed in that. In our case, we are going to take cognizance that indeed history is there which cannot leave blank spaces. We are going to learn from history. We are going to acknowledge and concede to the effect that not all South Africans manage to go through the school system. But for us to try to equalize the whole thing, we are going to admit, we need to admit that government is there forever. Now, if government is there forever, Why do you have to privatize services like cleaning, like horticulture, garden services, security? Why do you have to privatize that? We're going to employ people in government for the purpose of job security.
Great. So
now going back to the issue of having competent people for the right job. Yes, we are going to do a vigorous assessment. I need to be honest with everybody that Arise Africa Arise as an organization, it is driven by people. The primary people who drives this vehicle are the members of Arise Africa Arise. What does that mean? It means, yes, you can be found attending meetings of AAA, you can be found wearing regalia, you can be found singing songs of Arise Africa Arise, but if you have not paid your membership fee, you are not a member. Now, that one is well known, that charity begins at home. Charity begins at home, make no mistake. We are saying unequivocally so, unashamedly, that in AAA, if opportunity comes, opportunity will be the people who invested their monies, the people who invested their time, they have transacted those people. Now if the opportunity comes, they must get their returns. That thing in commerce we call it ROE, return on investment. So we'll be finding two people, one person in Arise Africa Arise being a member, it's an intellectual. The other one is an illiterate, like the municipality of the mayor of Mothupi municipality. We'll find those two people in Arise Africa Arise. As you find those people, at the back of your mind, you must know that Arise Africa Arise, its mission is inclusivity. We include everybody. But for the mere fact that another person is learned and the other one is not learned, that is not going to be our standard. Our standard will be, what did you put in favor of the party? Ladies and gentlemen, politics is all about numbers. We might be having a person learned with zero number.
Audio Jungle.